coming for the last 2.5 years. Mercedes is going to have one. BMW. Porsche is going to have a four-door sedan with a 300-mile range. General Motors has announced 20 different electric vehicle models. And the thing about all of these is they can all be sold at a loss for environmental compliance reasons, and the losses on the electric vehicles can be recouped on the internal combustion ones, which are the ones that 95% of Americans still want. So, and Tesla has no internal combustion engine vehicles on which to recoup the EV losses. Everybody in the global automobile industry is going to be offering high quality, high technology, high range electric vehicles, and Tesla has no advantage, no technological advantage, no software advantage, no battery advantage, no advantages whatsoever.
Went to market with the Bolt was a company that didn't believe battery electric vehicles were going to become mainstream. And I say that very transparently and very clearly because we did not get behind the car from a marketing and retail standpoint. We had a lot of people who didn't believe in it, sort of a self-fulfilling thing.
Greetings and thank you once again for joining Teslafaninsight for another enlightening look at another part of sort of the EV miracle brought to you by Tesla. Just a reminder, if you enjoy the show, please take time to like and subscribe. If you'd like some tips on better investing and trading of Tesla and others, please join us on Patreon. So, as you saw from our start, the focus of our discussion today is the fact that the CEO of GM has talked about the fact that the plan is to spend as much as $35 billion, which facilitates Tesla's ability, or GM's ability, to sort of leapfrog or pull equal with Tesla by 2025. So we wanted to kind of leverage some video from 3 years ago on CNBC with Bob Lutz articulating how and why GM and other ABM OEMs would eclipse with ease sort of the Tesla miracle, if you will. So when we first heard Bob's commentary, it seemed as though the threat he represented via the larger OEMs, many of which he worked for, was legit and would impact Tesla greatly. As you saw, the theory was that the world's largest auto companies were combining forces in a way to crush the brash newcomer with cash, tax credits, and profits from cars and SUVs that would subsidize sort of lowering the price on EVs, if you will. So there are many reasons why things have not worked out to their benefit. A, the pandemic screwed up the supply chains for both ICE and EV vehicles, slowing progress to change for all. As you know, Tesla did do some reprogramming in order to facilitate continuing to grow during the pandemic. And there's a structural difference in how Tesla executes chips, including its own design of chips, and this results in a higher cost chip, but introduces flexibility that is not enjoyed by sort of the low-cost chip process that most of the global OEMs chose to go down as their path. For the GM situation, the battery fire recall slowed sales to nothing as that issue was fixed with a couple of $1 billion, along with a redo of how LG was putting together and distributing batteries for GM vehicles. And they've now got the Bolt back on the market with this new solution. The dearth of dedicated charging has affected motivation for folks to spend high dollars above $50,000 to have range anxiety issues. So yes, there are early adopters that have chosen to go for these vehicles, but it can be difficult to get these high-spending folks to join the EV party, not only with lower range than what Tesla offers, but without a viable charging situation that's dedicated that allows them to go over long distances without much range anxiety, which is one thing Tesla offers. With a short-term fixed supply of lithium ion to go to large numbers of customers wanting it, the solution has been that costs have risen about 10 times what expectation might have been. So we now have a crazy situation where, for example, Rivian is selling its pickup trucks in the $81,000 zone, but their per vehicle cost is up around $200,000, and the lithium ion issues is one of the big issues out there. Chip shortages have also been an issue, and it means long waits for all to replenish supplies, especially on the least costly chips needed by OEMs and are not chips used by Tesla. And so it was interesting to note that Ms. Barr from GM came on and indicated that the sort of revival of chip access will likely not occur until 2026. So we'll see what happens here, and I think 3 years is a legitimate amount of time to build new production facilities to facilitate what the needs might be of large OEMs. The other problem that popped up is OEM or original equipment manufacturing executives who are used to getting supplier rapid cooperation assumed pivoting on semiconductors and other parts needed, including lithium-ion batteries, would not be an issue given the potential for the large sales and how that would affect the attitude of suppliers. All the above issues have forced most of the OEMs to modify their business plan to include vertical integration, which takes time to execute. In a future show, we'll review some of the core logic that was shared by Bob Lutz in terms of how the OEMs were operating. As you know, the OEMs generally have a 25% make themselves and 75% buy from other suppliers solution process. Given the dearth of battery supply and the need to sort of modify the nature of that supply for a competitive advantage, we found that the decision has been made to start mirroring Tesla's vertical integration. But the problem is that it takes time to build factories, et cetera, to do this. And will they finally get to market by the time the market's gone? That's unknown, but there's an effort right now, particularly by GM, but by all, to reduce as much as possible the time to market. But this also introduces the problem of rapid market movement can also result in mistakes that can generate things like engine fires that create big problems going forward. So we think that in general, not all of the OEMs are going to make it in their transition from electric or from ICE vehicles to electric, simply because the number of issues having to be dealt with all at the same time and the pressure of having a marketplace that's not going to wait on them to sort of pull themselves together. I will say that probably my biggest surprise out of this whole thing was GM's decision back in the 2015 timeframe to actually sell European operations. And instead of taking the $2 billion and building a gigafactory right around Tesla, when Tesla was doing this, the decision was made to return that cash to shareholders. I didn't think this made any sense at all, given that it was clear that there'd be a vertical integration need being executed in order to be Tesla competitive. And so it really calls to question, one, whether or not the whole EV space was taken seriously by GM and others, and then two, once it was taken seriously, how are we seeing all these process errors that should not have been there? So stay tuned. We'll obviously be updating as we learn more that might be useful to everyone to understand what's going on, how wise, etc. But I really think that it's hard to see how, given the set of issues that we've described, everyone's going to make it, because it smells as though the window may close for opportunity before everyone is ready to deliver products into this space. So hopefully this includes more U.S. rather than just other international partners. But the way things have gone, it's easy to assume this will not work well. So and what this means then is that Tesla is a dominant force here and runs the opportunity to become the largest market shareholder in the space across a large number of products in their line. So we want to thank you for taking time out to join us, and we look forward to your comments on all of this. Next, we wanted to move over to our health tip for the day. I had a brief talk with a healthcare professional who indicated that boosting your consumption of vitamin D, as in David, during the winter months is a wise plan, because it turns out that the lack of sunshine could start to affect the mood of many. So this might be something to review with your doctor and consider doing, but I think that it might be helpful in your sort of general health process as well. At any rate, this is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. Tschüss, German au revoir, French Lehithro, Hebrew Choda Hafez, Farsi Strajich, Russian Niao Ma, Chinese Konbanwa, Japanese Namaste, Hindi, Arrivederci, Italian, Hey Do, our friends in Sweden, and in Jamaica we say enough respect, walk good man. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, and bye for now.